Let's react to the video right now. You're watching the journey of me building the biggest coffee shop music studio ever in honor of my brother who passed away, called Kokomo J's. Click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find any of these valuable. Okay, so this is Alex Hormozi. If you don't know him, I apologize. He is someone, go get his book, $100 Million Offers. We teach from it like a textbook in our inner circle, clcinnercircle.com.
Chick-fil-A makes more money than McDonald's, Starbucks, and Subway combined. And their first day in business, they made $50.
Okay, I love that right now because my first sale I ever did, and the high ticket master guy will tell you this was $49, and I was slow and methodical on how I did it because I never wanted to overcharge anybody value before I got into high ticket sales. So I love that. Plus, all those other franchises I've looked into buy to learning the food industry before Kokomo J's, and I do know a little bit more about Chick-fil-A's model. Let's see how much Alex knows.
Today, they make over $5 billion. I love
So $50 to $5 billion. Watch.
Chick-fil-A. I love their sandwiches. I love their desserts. I love their milkshakes.
Never skip dessert.
I love their sauces. I love their tenders. But what I love even more than that is their business. Because there are lessons that all of us can take in terms of how they do business, not what they talk about socially, but the actual business of running a business and how you go from $50 to $5 billion.
So $50 to $5 billion, Chick-fil-A. Let me say this. What's one of your favorite memories in Chick-fil-A? Put in the comments below of what's something someone says to you. I know it's one thing they always say to me is always my pleasure.
And I can promise you it's not by doing what everyone else does. And they did that without raising tons of debt. They did it over 76 years. They did it after the founder died and have continued to grow. And they never had a down year where they went down in sales for 76 straight years. They sell 1/4 the amount of items of any other franchise. Subway has 7.5% net margins. Their royalty alone is 15% of top line, meaning their stores are running 20, 30+% margins in brick and mortar food. And they,
which by the way, people say, I remember my first mentor, funny free screen for Alex day like this, but this guy, Doug Zoombox Coffee, New Canaan, Connecticut, shout out to you. He said, hey, you don't want to do food because you lose money in the margins. I'd always track that. I talk to business owners, I have masterminds who have crepe businesses because the margins are very high. Crepes, very high, in case you want to get into that, or Alex, you want to do a video on that maybe later on. But this 30% margins on chicken and food is unbelievable.
Do that being open only 6 days a week, having 52 days a week that they are closed. Unlike any other franchise, no franchisee can own more than one location, unlike any other store.
So I love that model. One thing about Kokomo J's, I said, like, let's say Alex, decides, hey, I want to be a part of Jeff's journey. I want to open up a Kokomo, instead of doing Kokomo J's, a Kokomo Alex's. And it's in Vegas and it's beautiful. And he has it that way. That way he owns that one. And that way people have ownership to it if they buy in the journey. And the same licensing model we're doing for Change Life Consulting is just parodying. Well, not, it's actually setting the forefront of what the licensing model will be for Kokomo J's to franchise it.
Get 60,000 applications a year, and they only award less than 1% of those people a store. And they do it with arguably a very controversial social setting that would never work in a publicly traded corporate company that has to massage its PR.
So we probably won't be publicly traded. I know I say franchise and I throw it around. People are like, why do you want to be franchised? One thing I like about that, that's the no-brainer offer. That's the takeaway close. Hey, everybody applies, we may accept you to own a Chick-fil-A. Now I just want to apply to see if I get awarded it, right? Maybe I learn from Chick-fil-A and then I go build Kokomo J's.
So here are the lessons that I take away from Chick-fil-A that I've tried to apply it as.
Love that logo. By the way, anybody who can do a logo for Kokomo J's, we're going to have it on my podcast studio here in Miami when we have it up with all the celebrities, probably have Alex on definitely, and Grant, Dana White, all these really cool names, but I want that logo up. If you are Techni logo and you want to donate and be a part of it, you'll get a shout out on the show coming forward.
Many different places in the portfolio companies that we own, and even just at acquisition.com at the holding company.
That's gotten a better logo too. I love logos, man. By the way, what do you think of this logo? We'll go with the shout out to Caesar and George, the CMO of Service One Agency, with the Change Life Consulting logo.
Number one is that they sold chicken sandwiches for 76 straight years, and I don't think they're going to stop. Having singular focus on the core products and not getting cute and not getting fancy and not having 49 menu items, but just saying, what are the things that the most people want and how do I get better and better and better at doing those things, because better gives you leverage. It means the same input gets you more output rather than having lots of different things that you have to put in.
By the way, if this is your first time watching me or Hormozi, it's the same stuff all the time. Focus on one thing, focus on better, and then duplicate, right? Same thing. And I'm saying that because I'm reminding myself as I have shiny object syndrome like the rest of them.
You put in, you just put more and more and more because you only have so much juju. If you had 2 items, you can only split set them half as much as you could one. For example, if you think about this like an Olympic runner, the difference between first place.
By the way, great thing is an illustration right there in sales. When you're trying to explain something, you do an illustration. This is a illustration.
Place in 4th place in the Olympics is 1/10 of a second. But the difference between 1st and 4th for a person's life, massively different. We get these outsized returns by making these marginal improvements of being better rather than being new, despite our entrepreneurial desire to have not a chicken sandwich. We're like, what about tacos? What about burgers, right? Like how many times could they have done something like that? But they did it because they knew that they wanted to stick to the essential few and they knew that focus is what was going to compound over the long term.
Whoa, focus will come out. All they do is personal branding, consulting. I'm a QA, quality assistance. I'm ChatGPT copy now. So we look over in Jarvis stuff. All right, focus is what compounds over the long term. Focus is what compounds over the long term. It's very important. Just saying.
Despite being publicly criticized for not taking on debt and not trying to grow faster, we're talking 5, 6, 7, 8 years having somebody beat him. Boston Market, remember Boston Market when they had their rotisserie chickens and the mac and cheese and all that stuff? They took on a ton of debt, grew super, super fast, and then imploded. Boston Market shut up and then shot down because he wasn't thinking on a 5 or a 10-year time horizon. Esther Cathy's literally sold chicken sandwiches from the time he was 25 until the day he died. He was a missionary, not a mercenary. He wasn't doing it to brag about his ego. He was doing it because he believed that this way of doing business was what he wanted to represent. I know that the likelihood that my competitors are going to be here in 70 years is almost 0. So if I build in a way that I'm going to be here in 70 years, I will win by default.
So build to last. I love that thing. Back when I was trying to play football, I tried a little bit harder. I knew I only had a short sprint to win football. When I got into business, I kind of adopted the Gary Vee model. Definitely urgency in the day, but patience in the long run. As I watch people with the blue check and the Lambos, file the social and go to the yacht parties, I knew if I stayed in, learned what I need to learn until then, there was a point when I probably could have pushed out a little bit sooner. I'll win by default at the end. And certain things that have happened now, certain wins shows that is true.
And I think that's powerful because so many people want to say they're number one. The question is when. You look at the richest man in the world. I want to be the richest man in the world. You got to respond to somebody's answer with, for how long? Because eventually you die. What are we aiming towards? For him, he wanted to build an amazing chicken franchise. His legacy outlasted his life. And for me, that's my dream. My hope is that whatever we build.
Yeah, I just thought of an old version of me over Kokomo J's, that little old guy. Can you picture an old version of me? I'm sure someone could do it with Parrot AI or something like that. Or
can continue and not only just stay alive, but grow beyond us. And that you can only do through a mission, not through a mercenary cause. Because if
mission. By the way, this is one thing that I've always done extremely evangelical. I'm evangelical about selling the mission. I'm evangelical about change-out consulting. Hey, before you get screwed over any of those things, let's take a look at it, what you're doing. We think we could help you, right? It's the same thing. Don't waste your time and money.
If you're just chasing the money, people get diluted out because there's always a shiny, easy win that distracts from the core items. The fact that they don't let anyone have more than one store. I think there's a lot of wisdom to this. So there are lots of people like, let me open 100. They're like, no, because you're not going to be able to focus. We want someone to put their heart and their soul into their location and treat it like it's their own. While he was alive, you have to have worked at a Chick-fil-A. I think they loosened that up because he wanted to create a way for people to come in, mopping floors, flipping burgers, going all the way up, and then eventually own their own franchise. He has profit sharing. Now, mind you, he doesn't share the whole profit, but after he takes his pieces off, they have an ability to make more money. And having that kind of, I'll say, uncapped earning potential for somebody is very inspiring, but he keeps it constrained to a singular focus because they know that somebody can give it their all at one location. They've already tested that. They've learned over the years. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that we can take for our own businesses.
So yeah, focus on one thing, what you can do 100%. And even like certain people that I lead right now, where my business is at, it's not at the level, maybe most people are. We're definitely a startup, definitely moved to Florida, but we definitely believe in what we do and we do a really good job and we have some of the best people surrounded with it. people are gonna get mad because I play with my hat when I wear it a lot. But basically, just focus on that one exact thing. So like give someone one task that they complete and say, hey, that's it, you be the best in that area.
Number 4, saying no on Sundays means that you have to say no to things that are obviously going to make you money, but will detract from your values.
Oh, that's huge. So my whole life, and I haven't been perfect by any means, done a lot of stuff. But the one thing I decided is how I made my money. I want to be proud and sleep at night on how I made my money. People make money all the different ways. There's a lot of different stuff. I always would drive by Chick-fil-A. I'd always crave Chick-fil-A on Sundays. I don't know if this is just me, if there's anybody else put in there. And I'd be like, oh my God, it's not open. I'm like, man, they can make so much more money. By the way, my dad just said recently, Jeff, Chick-fil-A is always packed, right? He's driving by.
So there are lots of opportunities in entrepreneurship, and you probably have some on your docket right now that you're like,
I don't know, this is a little left of center, but like, it's such an easy win.
imagine the new CEO comes into Chick-fil-A tomorrow and says, you know what? I found a way to make us 13% more sales and have most of that drop to bottom line. They're like, what's your amazing idea? And he's like, we're going to be open also on Sunday. It would be such an easy play. And imagine how hard it is to say no, because in the beginning, he had to say no to an extra 13% on $1 million. So it makes another 130,000. But when 13% is $650 million and you still say no, it means that you're appealing to a higher power, something above the money. Values matter more than just about anything, in my opinion, if they are true to the founder, true to the business, and they operate in that way. And I would say that Chick-fil-A is a great example of a type of company that believes in its values through and through, and they practice what they preach, pun intended. Now, I also believe that appealing to something above the money, long, makes you more money. But you have to say no in the short to get the long yes.
Oh, say that again. So I was looking for a pen before. You have to look at, let me repeat this. I do this, by the way. I'll listen to videos. Alex, if you're watching this, which you probably are, I do rewatch your videos and I take notes, and then we act them, because just taking notes is nothing. Maybe one day we'll show. Actually, I should be careful because probably haven't watched all your stuff yet.
Pun intended. Now, I also believe that appealing to something above the money, long, makes you more money. But you have to say no in the short to get the long yes. One of the things that permeates any Chick-fil-A, if you've ever been there, is that they have a culture of service.
You're one step away from an awesome lunch meal. It'll be a pleasure serving you at our drive-through window. After 2 more things, you know what that is. Just Long Beach, you guys are awesome. 1 and 2. You have an awesome day up ahead.
All right, thank you.
Chick-fil-A.
And so what they did was they actually studied the hospitality industry and even hired people from Ritz-Carlton to help them create an exquisite
Also, I am the owner and founder of Change Life Consulting, who may be acquired by the video we are reacting to, which is Chick-fil-A, which I'm going to tell some stories and tell a story at the end. How I made, so they used to do reaction videos to like rappers. Well, this guy's gonna hit 1 million subscribers. He's Alex Hormozi. Instead of me just like parodying, we're doing a whole training on ChatGPT with our company and how it is. It's gonna be every Thursday night at 8, we do webinars.